Hello, 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 everybody, and welcome to the HRart Intuitive Institute. So excited that you can be here today. Take off my glasses so you don't have that weird light glare. Um, yeah, so forgive me because I'm a little bit off. I have been sick most of this week, and let's see if I can get. We are going to go live here on. You know what? Just forget it. I'm trying to remember to go live on Instagram, and it's just not working for me. I need someone to give me a reminder, but we're just not going to worry about that today because there's just too much going on, and I really was just, my main goal was to get on and to be here and to be live, and I am. I have had a major struggle. We were last week at the lake, which I did HR Intuitive Institute there. And then I got this terrible cold, and ever since then, I've not been live really since. I've been doing this live challenge with live streaming pros called the Lita Challenge. So I've been going live in a Facebook group, which is totally not the same as what I've been doing here. But I've been all out of whack. All these like goals that I had for working on our production and all that kind of stuff kind of fell by the wayside. But I have to tell you that I think that a big part of that is very intentional. So let me just be real with you for a minute that that I have, like I feel like you should be taller. Let's see, taller there, maybe. Um, Me being sick has been a real challenge for me, for the simple reason that I feel like I kind of did it to myself. And I know when you get a cold, everyone views it as, you just get sick, you get germs. I've been working really hard and trying to boost my immune system. That's something that I've been really committed to since the COVID quarantine, practicing really great hygiene. And I really, truly feel that I have this cold because I was unsuccessful in sustaining my boundaries as we had to start leaving the home and leaving our little perfect little bubble. And so when I started leaving the house, the boundaries started to come down. I started to fill my calendar more, and I ran myself down, and I could feel that. So last week it was supposed to be vacation. It was supposed to be a form of rejuvenation, and really I felt like I could just be a hermit and just crawl up and had to sleep for a whole week before I could really enjoy my vacation. And it took being away for me to realize how much I had really worn down my energy, like how much that really had happened. Um, so yeah, but in the midst of all of that, so in the midst of not being able to honor myself and self-care, that my body basically shut down, and is making me rejuvenate again, which is what I think happens when we get sick. I really think that if we don't take care of ourselves, our body's going to give us a timeout, and that's what illness is. And I'm not talking about this in regards to COVID. I'm talking about like normal colds or in a normal, uh, if there is anything as normal anymore. But when we feel a little under the weather, I'm not trying to say anything big monumental about COVID. But um, but in it, as you have a lack of energy to do certain things, you have this eye-opening kind of experience in itself. And one of the things that I realized is that I was going a little extreme on control, which happens to be our lesson for today. So our lesson today is the question I put out there. I think for the heading of this episode is when do we need to let go of control? And this was inspired by we're using actually Archangel Michael oracle cards for this month that highlighted the themes. If you believe in angels, the Archangel Michael is all about safety and security. He is the angel that shows up when he's got your back to tell you that you don't have to worry about being safe. You don't have to worry about that. I got you. I got you covered. And so just do you and do what you need to do. Um, and that's something that I think we all struggle with. We all struggle with on a regular basis. I know I struggle with on a continual basis. Um, so I thought it's a great lessons to bring forward. And so the first thing that came forward is this theme of let go and know. Relax with the certainty that all is well. Me being sick this week, there was so much that I need to do. I had hefty goals of finishing my next round of edits for my book that's coming out in September. Because I was waiting on my beta readers, which are the reading group that looks at the book before we do the finalized copy and get feedback. I had feedback sessions with people all at the end of last week, early this week. And then, so I get all this feedback ready to go, and I'm sick and I'm in bed. And I really was having this internal struggle about needing to get out and do and meet my deadline, this deadline that I had created for myself. The world's not going to end if I don't have all this edits in by tomorrow, and I'm not going to. Which is the beauty of self-publishing, right? Where was I going with this? Brain fart. Oh, but in that time of trusting and knowing that all is well, that this state of recovery is what I actually need right now in my path, in my connected path, and not trying to, I can't control everything. And so trusting that. And that's what's really humbling about this whole thing, about being in a state of physical unwellness. It makes you hit this pause button and realize that it's okay. Like, everything is happening as it should be. Everything is progressing the way that it should be. There's a reason why you need an extra day here or an extra day there. There's a reason why there's delays or slowdowns. And one of which I think comes from this constant battle with, should I overly script? Should I overly write? You know, when I do the podcast and I do this live stream that has evolved over the last year and is continuing to evolve, you know, I've been playing with how I got to do this outline. When I do an outline, I go really succinct to the point, but I feel like there's so much more that I want to say that's not given the opportunity to be said. At the same token, when I'm more freeform, like I am today, with a very loose outline, I feel like maybe I ramble and I don't add value. And it's in between. And what I have found is that I need to let go of the control. These weekly opportunities with you, whether it's on the podcast or it's in this live stream, they were never meant to be these perfectly structured curriculums. They're not meant to be extensions of my programs. A lot of the times they were meant to be self-serving. You know, me doing the work that I'm committed to doing, showing up and doing, fleshing out ideas. There's been many times that I've shared something on here that's resonated with one of you, and then you've reached out to me, and then as a result, we've had really great, beautiful partnerships or relationships, or really great ideas. You've helped me create this structure of what I needed, which is really, really awesome. So yeah. So I guess as we continue, I want you to forgive me today because I took cold medicine yesterday. I do not do well the day after I take cold medicine. I'm super sensitive, so all of that just throws my system off. So I have a tendency to zone out. I have a tendency to take these weird, awkward pauses. I have a tendency to go on tangents that don't make sense. So if you're tuning in and I say something, I don't finish a thought or I don't come back to a thought, can you please put it in the comments so I can respond and finish my thought or bring it back next week? But I say all this, today we're talking about letting go of control, trusting, and I had brought forth 3 questions that I've heard fairly frequently, whether it's me asking of myself in the past or it's been clients or somebody else who's asked, which is, why do we try to control the unknown? Why controlling often leads to forcing, and what happens when we finally let go? So let's start with question one of why do we try to control the unknown? And very simply, and this is why Archangel Michael shows up all the time, it's because we're afraid. We're afraid. We're afraid of something that we can't control. You know, that means we're leaving it up to someone, something else. It's scary. You know, we want to know. Um, this morning I was talking about vision boards because there's so many schools of vision boards, and there was somebody who, uh, not somebody, there's a practice where we put exactly what we think we want on a board. And then we work really hard to manifest those things, whether it's a car, a leather recliner, lots of money. Because when I do vision boarding, I always have people looking for images of money. You know, it comes from a place where we believe that we know the absolute best for ourselves. But when we're talking about that best for ourselves, it's coming from a place driven by your ego, which your ego is a voice, it's a piece of you that believes it doesn't need anybody else in this world, that everything that happens in this world is strictly driven by you and your physical being and body, that there is no greater purpose, there is no greater big picture, there is no vision, there is no faith, there is no higher being. You know, the fact that you were given this gift, this miracle of life, was just a scientific event that happened in life. And the fact that you're still living today, living where you are, is just kind of the mere result of decisions that you have made. But ego is the one that believes that. Your intuition, your authentic self that believes that you're part of something bigger, you're here for a greater purpose. You can sense that there is a bigger overall piece in this world that connects all of us, however you want to put that together, is what makes it important for us to trust the unknown. If you want to stay and rely on ego and that's where your comfort zone is and that's what you believe, that's fine. Then it's true. You want to control everything and you don't want to trust the unknown, and you're perfectly fine functioning in that state of being afraid of it and trying to control everything in your capacity, because in your world, only what you can control is what you can control. I shouldn't say whatever you can control is the only thing that can make something happen. There's no other, I would say, allies or supporters that are moving you along your way. It is the same thing that I would just leave it. Like, I've seen it. I've seen it where people function from a place of ego. And I'm not going to say it's wrong. I'm going to say it's where you're at. And if that's the case, then control's probably your best bet. It's probably the only thing that's going to bring you peace is controlling. The people that I'm talking to, my tribe that's here, even if you are someone who's functioning from an ego, if you're listening to this, if you're listening to the HR Intuitive Institute, you are intrigued by the fact that the unknown exists. You're feeling this pull, this gravitational pull to something bigger, that you're part of something bigger, that we're all connected to each other. And I think that's one of the greatest lessons that I've ever learned is that, and I love movies that sequence it like this, but we're all so connected to each other. It's like those 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. Like, we're so connected to each other, and when we're able to realize that, and the ripples that we send out into the world by every decision that we make every single day, it really changes the perspective. So why do we try to control the unknown? It's because we're afraid. It's because we don't believe. It's because we're struggling there. Um, and if we don't control, then what's going to happen to us? So there's this whole trust component that's necessary. Well, and you have to determine if it is necessary. Depending on where you're at today, you have to determine if it's necessary. For me, it's absolutely necessary. I believe that I'm on a connected path to do a purpose, which is the whole reason why I'm here today, the whole reason I wake up every single day, whole reason that raising my children and having a loving relationship with my husband and building my business, why it all matters is all tied to this greater purpose. And so it matters to me that I trust and I let go of fear and I let go of control as I venture into the unknown. Because I don't know ultimately what the destination is. I'm here for every single day and I'm committed to showing up, and I want to trust there. The second question, why controlling often leads to forcing. So I want to talk about this dynamic between controlling and forcing. So I would never say that I'm controlling. I don't like that word. But when I looked at it, I realized that anytime I was forcing something, I actually was controlling something. So a project or even books, like I have a whole folder of drafts of book outlines that I was trying to force into being, these like models that I made. I made like a feedback model, a coaching model, an organizational development model. Why those never came to being, and then I can write another book in a year. I was forcing it. And quite honestly, I can look back and know these are the books that I thought I was supposed to write. That as someone with my background, this is the arena that I'm supposed to be in if I'm going to show up writing a book. And I had to let that go. From Heart to Heart, the first book, it is 100% me letting go and just trusting that what I needed to write, which is why it's a book about a bunch of stuff. That when people ask me like why I wrote it, it was 100% out of trust. And I think that was the whole reason, was that it was supposed to get me to trust. Excuse me. I'm going to go grab my water, which I forgot to get. So I would have here. But trusting, that's what that whole thing was. So I want to just draw this parallel for you that if you find yourself saying, I'm not a controlling person, then my next question is, but do you find that you're forcing things? You're forcing people to do stuff. You're trying so hard to make something happen that you're forcing it. You are the triangle, there's a square hole, and you're jamming as hard as you can to make it happen. If that's the case, it might be time to let go. You might be controlling, and often it manifests as us forcing something into being. Nothing that you force into being is going to bring you fulfillment or true happiness. You might think so in the moment, but at some point in time, when it starts to truly settle and unravel, you will see that it didn't really add towards what you were after. Those things that add true fulfillment to our lives, they fall into place. They do. They just fall into place. All right. Last but not least, what happens when we finally let go? So I'm getting ready to release this new book. One of the biggest pieces of feedback that I've been getting is that I reference a connected path in there. Connected path is some kind of organic term that I just started using in this past year, and it really resonated with me. I realized that I didn't define it. I've never even defined it with any of you, I don't think, as we've been out there. I just kind of talk about it, and it resonates with other people, and then we're all like, oh yeah, we're living our connected path. We even have these amazing little hoodies that we share in our Leadership Arts shop. And whenever I wear mine, I always get lots of feedback, and people are like, I love your sweatshirt. It totally resonates with me. That's what I'm doing. I'm living my connected path. But what is it? Your connected path is what happens when we finally let go. It's when we start to see the dots on the path into the unknown that we just know it feels right. We feel a tug, we feel a pull, we feel this, it's just this, and the fact that I can't put it into words and I can't describe it is exactly what it should be. Because it comes from a place that's not necessarily describable. It's not part of the logical senses. This reaches so deeply inside to who we are, in tune to a vibration of authenticity that we only remember when we come into this world at birth. But it's that vibration. When I'm moving along my connected path, it's filled with these little pit stops, or as Tony Hernandez says, guideposts that allow us to know that we're moving in that direction, getting closer and closer to our true original intent as to why we show up, why we start this path, why any of this even matters. So this month is all about unpacking fear, but finding a place of safety in yourself so that you can step away from fear and continue down that connected path, charge down that connected path to get closer to home, get closer to that deep-rooted authenticity that's going to bring you that fulfillment, that joy, that sense of love that you probably have yet to experience. I know the further and further I go down the path, I think that it can't get any better, and it does. And it's describing a level of satisfaction that I didn't think is even possible in life. And it's crazy to know that that sensation is achievable when I have not reached all of my dreams or goals that I have put out there. I have achieved a lot, and I have big dreams and I have big visions. But I think we undersell the fact that we have achieved so much along the way. The journey is really what we're here for. And if that journey is aligned with that connected path, you're going to be powerful, you're going to be making an impact, and you're going to be purposeful and intentional. And you're going to have an incredible legacy, and you totally have the ability to change the world. That is my lesson for this week on the HRart Intuitive Institute. And I want to thank you for tuning in as we transition to this new layout. Now I want to hear from you. Go down in the comments below this video and share with me, what are your greatest struggles when it comes to control? What do you think about ego versus this unknown trusted path? Is that complete baloney? Let me know. What about the connected path? If you had to define it, how would you define the connected path? How has that come alive with you? When you live your connected path, being in alignment, how does it feel for you? Tell me the words, how you would describe it, because I need help. I can feel it, I can sense it, but if I'm going to try to describe it to you, I'm at a loss. But it's also in that loss that I know that I found it. So share with me, how would you define your connected path? How did you know when you found it in the comments below? All right. Other than that, have a great week, and I will talk to you next week. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please do so, hitting the red subscribe button somewhere on this page. And then also make sure you hit the little bell in the corner that lets us notify you when we go live. Have a great week, everybody, and I'll see you next Thursday at 12:15 for our next HRart Intuitive Institute lesson. Bye.